My name is Sergeant 1639 Goodwin. This is a continuation of a tape-recorded non-custodial interview with Graham Ford on the 17th of October 2012. Just to clarify, the first set of tapes we interviewed between the hours of 12:18 and 1300 hours. We've had a short break to complete some paperwork when PC Andrews left the room to pick up some paperwork to bring back in. I'd like to confirm you've still got Graham Ford here. If you could just say your name, Graham.
Yes, Graham John Ford.
Thank you. And we've still got Mr. Exelby, the appropriate adult.
Ian Exelby.
Thank you. And PC Andrews.
Yeah, I'm here still.
Present. And just to clarify, Graham, during the short break when we've been completing the paperwork, please can you confirm that we have not discussed anything in relation to the interview or the offence? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. So Graham, you're still under caution, if I can just remind you. We were just about to finish off the interview, and I gave the opportunity for you to add something, and you began to talk about Sergeant Want when the tape cut out. So would you like to continue what you were saying?
Am I allowed to read his witness statement? No.
I did read it out to you.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason why not. You can't also take it away with you, but there's no reason why you can't look at it, because I've read it out to you, so I'm not hiding anything.
No. Yeah, there's just this section. He was informing Sergeant Want writes, he was informing me that he was being sexually abused by cyber intrusion. That's my claim. Also telling me that images from his passport photo had been used in advertising at a local fashion shop in Sherborne. My passport photo, I do actually remember the detail in question. I thought that was there was some confusion over this particular detail.
Right.
What I also showed him was an advert in a local magazine, which I won't name today.
Right. Using
imagery of identifying the same woman that Sergeant Want disclosed he knew the identity of, that I mentioned earlier.
Right.
And that's not in the statement,
okay,
but the crux of the issue between Sergeant Want and myself.
Right.
So I will be mentioning that, and Sergeant Want hasn't.
Okay. Obviously that's the evidence that Sergeant Want has chosen to present, so I can only go by what he's presented. But I accept the fact that there are certain parts of that you don't agree with, as in you feel that some bits have been missed out.
I've just said what I need to say.
Okay.
Like yourself, that's fine. You mentioned my previous conviction.
Yes.
My previous offence.
Yes. Against
Avon and Somerset Police. And I mentioned that I have reason to believe that was an unfair conviction, an unsafe conviction.
Right.
I have evidence against Avon and Somerset Police in support of that challenge of that conviction, and I applied to Yeovil County Court to summons the Chief Constable.
Okay.
As a legal requirement, I had to contact the Chief Constable of Avon and Somerset office. And there's no need to go into detail, but in general terms, their legal department came back to me in response, just to acknowledge service. I won't say what they said. That was the 17th of February 2010.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There was a hearing at the beginning of September at the Yeovil County Court.
This year?
No, in 2010, September 2010, I should say.
Right.
The judge didn't uphold, well, he didn't continue the case. He merely struck it out. There were some appeals, but it was ultimately struck out. But when I received paperwork regarding that verdict, the judge had made a note in the paperwork about a letter from the defendant. The defendant wasn't, or the Avon and Somerset's legal department weren't present at the hearing.
Right.
And I wasn't told at the hearing about any communication to the court from the defendant. I was prosecuting Avon and Somerset Police, yeah.
And what happened with that, Graham?
I obtained a copy of that letter from the defendant. I wasn't sent one, or one wasn't disclosed, but I had to chase after that letter. And I've got the letter here. Now, it is, on first appearance, a conventional response from a defendant.
Right.
There's some issues, but nothing that suspect. And that is dated just before the hearing, 26th of August 2010. I did send communication to the Chief Constable's office at the time of being assaulted.
Right.
And that was witness intimidation leading up to that hearing.
Right.
That is when Avon and Somerset contacted the Fixated Threat Assessment Center.
Right.
And they got in touch with my GP, Dr. Mottram, who was, and who got in touch with N.H.S.
Right.
Yeah? That stems from those events.
Okay.
I've got a copy of the letter the Fixated Threat Assessment Center sent my GP. That was like the first communication from the FTAC to my GP.
Right.
Acting on Avon and Somerset Police's wishes. Now, it's quite clear that this letter from London is dated the 27th of July 2010, and they are ultimately alleging improper communication, yeah? And they have acted on it by contacting my GP. If that communication is so improper, and the constabulary is a defendant, why is that communication not included in that correspondence as part of their defence?
I can't answer that, Graham.
No, but they have acted on it, but not using a court of law.
Right.
Doesn't that strike you as odd? Wouldn't you, in any situation, as a defendant...
We've listened to what you've had to say, but we're not here to discuss what's gone on.
No, but you have interviewed me with an appropriate adult, and that's how serious doing that is.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I think anyone who was a defendant and was intimidated, in principle, by anyone, would be bound to report that at a hearing. Does that sound familiar? Witness intimidation is an offence.
Obviously, you're entitled to make any complaint or report, aren't you? Which is what you've done, haven't you?
My point raised today, Sergeant wants omission of the crux of the issue between us at any time is quite similar to how extraordinary omitted from a court defence behaviour from me that's been reported anywhere else, and is quite frankly a genuine inconvenience.
Okay.
You know, that's very similar to.
Well, I understand the fact that you've come in today, Graham, and you've had the opportunity to put your side of the story, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And I know that you've said things that you don't agree with, and you believe there are things missing. So you've been able to say that on tape and put your feelings forward. Yeah,
this is nothing about my feelings or my beliefs. I haven't obtained these documents and reacted to them.
No.
I know what has happened.
Yeah.
That is easy.
Yeah.
And I have produced the documents backing that claim. That is different. no point in reading
No.
into documents. I have seen what's happened, and I have produced documents consistent with that claim. Okay.
Yes. I understand what you're saying.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before I end, Graham, I am going to report you for this matter. That doesn't mean to say that anything will or will not happen after today, but I am just going to report you for the matter.
Can I just
Go on.
say, I've got another couple of questions.
Sorry, go on. Yeah.
Graham, two things. In relation to the email that was sent, and you've seen the content of the email that was sent. Admittedly, you don't want to talk about it, but from how it's been read out by Sergeant Goodwin, what is your take and your feelings about the content of that email?
How do you say, it's semantically along the lines of an incident between Sergeant Want and myself. Looking at it hypothetically.
If you received that, would you feel that was offensive?
I have received it. I have received improper comments, and it's from, including Sergeant Jed Want. Not that I come here to
the email that was read
point
out.
an inappropriate finger, but whenever I receive that, it is a question of dealing with it
The email-
in the way that is available to me.
The email that was sent to Sergeant Want by whoever, you're not willing to talk about that, but it was from an email address. What do you think about the content of that email on a personal basis?
Well, I know today what that content is, that's all I can say. It's enough to be getting on with, quite frankly.
So you were right, okay, that's all you're willing to say about
Well,
that.
you're encouraging me to expound on it after.
No, I'm asking you.
I haven't got any other.
I'm asking you a straightforward question in relation to an email that the sergeant has read out, and I'm asking you what are your feelings about that email. What is wrong about that?
I'm not questioning. I'm not criticising the question, but I haven't got anything else to say about it.
Okay.
Graham, are you on any medication at the moment, or were you on any medication at the time of the alleged email being sent to dot inquiries?
No.
You're on no medication whatsoever?
No.
Nothing at all?
No.
Okay. Have you been subscribed any medication?
No.
What, never?
Well, no, basically.
You've never been advised or given any medication?
I have been. In 1993, the doctor gave me, was it clopidogrel, which is supposed to be an antidepressant, but similarly, I was bullied into it. There wasn't anything wrong with me. I suffered harassment and abuse, which is, fair enough. It can, I'm not, what's the word? It's like a natural disaster. I'm not full of blame about it, but it was inappropriate.
Right.
Have you got a medical condition now?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. I'm going to close this part of the going to close the interview. I'm going to report you for the matter of sending a message by a public communication network which is either offensive, indecent, obscene or menacing. And that does relate to the email of the 16th of August. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention now, something which later on in court, anything you do say may be given in evidence. The reason for me doing that, Graham, is because I am reporting you for that matter. All of my investigation will now go to an evidential officer. They will decide whether this is going to be progressed or whether there's going to be no further action. And at this time I can't say what will happen, but what I will say is an experienced evidential officer is going to review everything and make a decision, and then I will let you know what that decision will be. Do you understand that?
Just one question.
Yeah.
What do you mean by everything, including the tape report today?
The interview today, the information I've given you, I haven't hidden anything from you. There are two statements, one from Sergeant one from the lady for the inquiry centre. There's just the background information that we've discussed during the interview, and the fact that you've got a previous conviction. I am going to give all of that information to the evidential officer. They will make a decision about what happens. As I say, it could be that there'll be no further action. It could be that this will be taken further. But at this time I can't say what will happen. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Exelby, do you have anything to add about the interview or anything that we've discussed during the interview?
Is there anything else you'd like to say, Graham? Any other points that you're not sure of?
Only that this continued issue of a mental assessment, I had already distinguished two scenarios, reading into documents or witnessing crime and producing the documents to back that up. You've got to understand that I have witnessed the crime and I'm producing the evidence to back it up, and I'm not getting anything consistent with that from anything else. But, there's time. There's nothing. The mental state. I sent an email to the station at the weekend saying that.
What station, sorry?
This station here.
Oh, did you?
Yes,
I'm
I did.
And
when I spoke to you on Saturday, I thought you might just be aware of it.
No, I'm not, Graham. What
Anyone with a psychiatric report cannot use reasonable force as a defence in court.
Right.
For having a psychiatric report. Now, my communications with Avon and Somerset Police referred to reasonable force. That is reasonable force.
I can't comment on the investigation of Avon and Somerset.
The legal department created a mental report. Do you understand? That is to remove the defence that is reasonable force.
If you're still not...
Sorry, can you just think about this? They have removed the defence of reasonable force.
Graham, I can't...
In the light of allegations of assault.
Graham, I can't comment on the investigation by Avon and Somerset, unfortunately, because I don't have the information. If you still wish to pursue that, you will have to contact them.
Well, no, what I'm saying is you're still employing appropriate adults. It's still...
We had a lengthy conversation about that before the interview.
What's the word? Inappropriate.
Right.
I can't say that you'd face the same action or accusation, but you're like assisting the removal of an entitlement.
I know you didn't agree with having
you
didn't agree with having an appropriate adult in the interview, did you? You didn't want it. And
if I take action against the FTAC or Avon and Somerset Police, they're going to say, well, why did you attend this interview?
Yeah.
Or the court are going to say, yes, look, you did. And that's not because of me.
Because of the information that I had, I believed that I needed an appropriate adult.
I understand that completely.
Yeah.
But you also know who
you
instructed that. You must know who can't
you know that I've been liaising with...
The exceptions.
You know that I've been liaising with Mr. Exelby and his colleagues.
Yeah, I'm not criticising that at all.
Yeah.
But what you've got to understand is you're continuing along those lines. That is about my situation, my position. I'm not saying I believe that it's improper. I'm saying I know it's improper.
Right.
And that has to be part of any procedure, including a defence or whatever.
We'll have to agree to disagree on that, Graham, because I believe I do need an appropriate adult, and I know that you don't agree with that. Okay? So I understand that you believe that.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that understanding will not stop questions about medication or, and I would like that to stop personally.
Well, you don't have to answer, like I said at the beginning, any of the questions we ask you.
No.
Okay?
But that is why Avon and Somerset created that psychiatric report.
Right.
Because it removes a defence that protects me. And it is relative to the accusation made in the court application. I've also got a taped interview with an officer of the Metropolitan Police
Right.
from 2002, and he says that you've got to go and see a doctor. I didn't have a psychiatric report then, and I don't need one.
Okay.
Where the psychiatric report in question has come from remains to be seen. Avon and Somerset have produced something to obstruct us.
Maybe that's something you can discuss with Mr. Exby or his colleagues after the interview in relation to
Well,
that.
to be honest, there is legislation that can render an improper report null and void, and it's that simple. But
I think what we need to do, Graham, we need to end the interview because we've discussed everything in relation to the investigation, and to be fair, we could probably talk about sort of health and mental health assessments for quite some time, couldn't we? And as much as I don't want to cut you off, I think that's probably something that needs to be discussed with a professional outside the
I'd say that I read the legislation about getting it removed, in short, but it's just going to be, I'm going to feel it's problematic. Someone's going to ask me, and I'm not going to be able to give them any other answer.
No. Okay, Graham, so you've had the opportunity to add what you like. Mr. Exby, is there anything else that you'd like to add? Okay. PC Andrews?
No, nothing from me.
Okay. We've explained to you about what's happening with the tapes, and the fact that there's a master tape. The time is 13:30, so that's 1:30 in the afternoon. The interview is concluded, and I'm going to turn the recorder off.